All right, Mr. Chairman, you're live.
Okay, I'll bring this meeting of the Senate Appropriations to order, and we'll start out with the roll call.
Senator Driscoll,
Excused?
Senator Carew,
Here.
Senator Larson.
Here.
Senator Smith,
Excused?
and Chairman Salzar.
Here. So our first Senate file will be USMC Corporal Seth Rasmussen Memorial Highway, and we have Senator Prego to explain that. Welcome, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee. It's a pleasure to be here today. I know you got a lot to cover behind me, so I'm going to be brief. Essentially, this bill is, what we're proposing is to create a memorial highway for Seth Rasmussen. He's a hometown boy from Buffalo, Wyoming. He died in a training exercise as a Marine in 2002, and this bill is an attempt to honor that and honor the sacrifice he made for his country. His family has requested that a portion of Highway 16 west of Buffalo to the county line be named in his honor, and that's what this bill does. I'm happy to get you all the specifics about him if you want, and I can go more into detail, Mr. Chairman, if necessary, but otherwise, what we're asking for is an appropriation of $3,000. That's the standard appropriation that the department thinks is suitable, and they, I think, can execute with that dollar amount and have no problems doing so. Of course, they're here, I see, to testify if necessary. Stand for any questions.
Any questions? Any
Mr. Chairman, Bill Whitney, Sublette County, active duty in the Navy for a career. I would note that these kind of things are important. We have a young man from out in my neck of the woods, Riley McCollum, was one of the 13 in Afghanistan. So these things are they're a good memory. Subject to your questions, thank you.
questions? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, I don't want to belabor this, but could I ask Mr. Westby from Wyandotte to come on up for a second?
Absolutely. Director, how are you?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Senator.
Question, and good afternoon. Thanks for being here. Just want to make sure, I know we're all in favor of honoring service members whenever we can. I just want to make sure that I know the current position of the Wyoming Department of Transportation on such things.
Thank
If you would, please.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Darren Westby, Director of Wyoming Department of Transportation. Thank you, Senator, for the question. It is the Commission's position as well as the agency's position to not allow. It's the purview of the policy of the legislature to make these calls on our state highways.
So, any other questions? Senator.
And just to follow up, this is a relatively new phenomenon. And I know in the past, there's been some question about that, but now Wyandott's on board with this, and I just wanted to make sure, because it's.
Mr. Chairman and Senator, we worked with the good senator on this bill to ensure that right mile markers and everything, and that we're not stepping on any other toes regarding this highway. It wasn't already pre-named, all those things. We have 7,000 miles of roads, and at some point they might get filled, but at this point, we are where we are with the policy decision from the legislature.
Okay, any other questions?
Thank you.
Second, any discussion? Roll call vote.
Senator Driscoll has registered an aye vote. Senator Carew,
Aye.
Senator Larson.
Aye.
Senator Smith has registered an aye vote. Chairman Salzar. Mr. Chairman, roll call vote for Senate File 0141 as a due pass.
The next Senate file before us is Senate File 191. And
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I bring you Senate File 191, State Funds, Proxy Voting, and Pecuniary Investments. This is, as you know, I've been working on fighting back against ESG for a few years now. And this bill is kind of the
there's not
culmination
voice
of
coming out
that
there.
and what we can and cannot do and this is basically the lowest hanging fruit you have before you right now is proxy voting. So I'll walk you through the bill. What we've done basically is we've gotten together with the Treasurer's Office, other members of the SLIB board, industry, and a wide range of different legislators to work out a bill that works for Wyoming and doesn't take a sledgehammer to our investments. So if you would, I'll walk you through the bill. Page 1 at the bottom of the page, we're creating a new statute 94722. And what we're doing is taking the master investment policy of the state, of the SLIB board, the IPS, and codifying that into law. And so we have permanent direction for our investment agencies as to what we want them to accomplish. And as you can see on page 2, the theme of this throughout is that all investments shall be made through the exercise of judgment and care of a prudent investor in accordance with our prudent investor law, as you see there in statute 93408. And each investment entity shall act in the best financial interests of the beneficiaries. Another common theme you'll see throughout this fight against ESG is we want to make sure that we're protecting Wyomingites and our interests, and that we should be voting our shares when it comes to our investments and not letting those that are opposed to our way of life having access to our, billions of dollars worth of investments and taking those proxies and voting them against our firearms industry, our oil and gas and coal industries, and whatever else you can imagine. So as you will see on page 3, it's more of that IPS language, putting it into law. Just note at the bottom of page 4, requesting that the investment partner, manager, or vendor change policies to ensure that investments are made only on pecuniary factors, that we're not voting a proxy to do damage, you know what I'm saying? That's basically it. There's not anything new on there. The rest is conforming language, Mr. Chairman, as you'll see, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Going over to page 10, State Treasurer, new language, State Treasurer shall vote the shares of investments of state funds or use proxy voting in accordance with this new statute we created. Another key part of this bill, Mr. Chairman, is that, obviously the State Treasurer's Office probably can't vote all those shares, but they can certainly, this bill will allow them to contract that service out, and it specifies that in the bill. So I'm ready to stand for any questions. I stand prepared for any surprise substitute bills, whatever you want to throw at me. Too soon? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is there any questions from the committee? Senator,
Actually, a comment, not to sound like a shameless kiss-ass here to the president, but I would like to say I do appreciate very much the fact that you worked. I know this is a subject that's very, very important to you, and we've been on the same side, we've been on different sides on this one over the years, but I tell you what, I appreciate your work. I appreciate the fact that, and agree with you about what you're doing, and I hope as I look at the treasurer and I look back at our investment professionals around the room that we've come to an agreement that works for everybody, and I appreciate you, your work on this, so thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Senator Guru.
any other questions? No other questions? Or anyone online? Yes.
Mr. Chairman, we have Patrick Fleming online.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it's Patrick Fleming, CIO from the Treasurer's Office. Can you hear me?
I can. Please go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I want to follow up on Senator Gru's comments. I do want to thank the sponsor and co-sponsors of this bill. It's a rarity that you get to see some of these bills that were discussed so quickly, not only with the SLIB members, but with all of our staff, and trying to come through with a very thoughtful bill. So I just wanted to thank the president and everything that's been done moving forward on this. From the investment perspective, this is just follow up from the SLIB investment policy statement, which is really good, but putting more teeth onto this and codifying it. But we've had this since June of 23, and not one manager has had an issue. We have them verify with us exactly as the bill spells out. So I just wanted to mention, thank the president, but also just the process that he went through to get this put forth in such a good manner. Thank you.
I'll echo I guess both the chief investment officer and the president. Actually, Norm LeBlanc, our chief operating officer, he does the proxy voting for us currently. Get a little closer here. That Norm does the proxy voting currently, and I'd like to turn it over to him, and then I'll finish up a little bit on kind of a synopsis of Boyer research guidelines.
Chairman Salazar, thank you. My name is Norman LeBlanc. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the State Treasurer's Office. A pleasure to be here today. While the State Treasurer's Office believes strongly that Section 14 of the Investment Policy Statement titled Voting of Proxies, which was proposed by the STO, by the State Treasurer's Office, and approved by both the Investment Funds Committee and the State Loan and Investment Board, is sufficient to meet the objectives of the legislature. The legislation as proposed is acceptable to the State Treasurer's Office, and we do thank the Senate for considering our input and drafting a bill that addresses the concerns of Wyoming citizens while allowing the State Treasurer's Office to pursue the highest return on a risk-adjusted basis, which is our sole aim. Thank you. I stand for questions.
Senator Gru.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. Treasurer, and to CIO Fleming. I saw a report today that our investment portfolio is just about right across the $31 million mark. So it stands today at 30.9 million. When I started, and when you started, it was like 18. That's quite an achievement. And I just want to say that the question is that this bill in its current form will allow, as the good Senate President said, allow us to, in Wyoming, to uphold our values, but still allow you to do your job in the highest, most professional way to get the highest return possible, given these guidelines and this support. Is that true?
I believe that's a correct statement.
Thank you, sir. That's all I need. Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other testimony? Public testimony? Yes, please come forward.
Okay. Okay. You got it there?
Mr. Chairman, David Swindell, the Executive Director of the Wyoming Retirement System, just to say we can have no issues with the bill. We appreciate the bill sponsors' efforts to work the bill. I think this committee and the legislature is well aware that we've always voted our proxy shares in the best interest of the beneficiary of the system. That's actually required under federal law under the proxy rule as adopted by the Department of Labor. So we have always voted our shares solely in the economic interests of the plan, the retirement plan, and in the interests of the participants, and not subordinate the interests of participants and beneficiaries in the retirement income or financial benefits under the plan to any non-pecuniary objective or promote non-pecuniary benefits or goals unrelated to those financial interests of the plan's participants and beneficiaries. That's federal law. But this bill is helpful. It will help us also provide the resources to maybe add some more transparency to our proxy voting, so we appreciate that. There is one matter, I don't know if I really want to bring this up because it's a technical thing. It's on page 5 of the bill. But if the bill sponsor said you'd be entertaining of anything, so here you go. Well, I want to see if the committee is interested in it.
Mr. Swindoll, it has been my practice as chairman that I will not entertain any amendments from the witness table.
Okay.
If anyone has an amendment, they can ask a senator to bring that forward, but I will not entertain an amendment from that table. So,
No, very good. It's a technical thing and it's, we'll be fine.
Mr. Chairman?
yes.
Yeah, I think we welcome the memorialization of the proxy voting and actually when we move into ESG, the same. So everybody knows where we're at, you know, as a state supporting our industries, our values, and being fiduciaries and acting in a non-pecuniary manner. Thank you.
Any questions from the committee? Any other testimony wish to be given to this bill? Okay, I will close public testimony. Is there a motion to move the bill? Move the bill. Is there a second? Second discussion. I have a comment. Mr. President, I want to thank you. Mr. President, for bringing this bill. I remember a year ago, you didn't have the kind of welcome, and that was too bad. You're getting a much different reception now, and rightfully so. So, other discussion? Yes, Senator Guru.
Mr. Chairman, it wasn't, just to carry on, that wasn't right. And hopefully we can get that fixed. But I do have just a question for Mr. Swindell. If I were to surmise that as I take a gander at page 5, was the date, or maybe 2025 is something that might, as an effective date of 2025, be something that you think would be smart, or is 2026 the right date?
Mr. Swindell.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Guru, we're fine with 2025.
With 2025? Okay.
Okay.
It was another technical issue.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sorry, forget it. All right.
Anything else? Any
We'll
other
change
questions or comments from the committee? No? Roll call.
Senator Driscoll has registered an aye vote. Senator Guru.
Aye.
Senator Larson.
Aye.
Senator Smith has registered an aye vote. And Chairman Salzar. Mr. Chairman, Senate File 0191 has a due pass, 5 ayes.
Great, thank you. The next piece before us is SJ 11. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I bring you Senate Joint Resolution number 11. A little background as to why this is a resolution, not a bill. A lot of things have changed since the last year, even since I ran my ESG bills. Things are moving on the front of the antitrust litigation, which I fully support what the governor's office is doing in that, and the attorney general's office. I've always thought that the best way to attack this ESG stuff is through antitrust litigation, and I'm so thankful to hear that we have joined the Texas lawsuit in that. Also, applaud the state treasurer's office. I mean, a lot of these things, the fight against ESG ultimately rests with the treasurer's office and the attorney general's office, in my opinion. What we can do as a legislature, and what I've been able to do in the last 3 or 4 years, is to bring awareness to the issue and kind of force the issue to the forefront, and I think I've done that. And now it's to the point where I don't want to overstep the separation of powers and allow the executive agencies to continue the work that they've done. But that's why I wanted to do a joint resolution to put my thoughts on paper, which I think represent the whole argument against ESG and what we're trying to fight against and put it in a resolution format. So I'll walk you through the resolution. I probably won't read it word for word, but pick out some of the highlights. Again, you'll see the common theme whereas the prudent investor rule, which Wyoming and other states have adopted, require investors to invest and manage assets as a prudent investor would through the exercise of reasonable care, skill, and caution. We want to make our decisions based solely on pecuniary factors to ensure the highest possible risk-adjusted total net return. Flip over the other page. Whereas in recent years, many of the world's largest banks, asset management companies, and other financial institutions have adopted an anti-free market globalist ideology called stakeholder capitalism, which seeks to achieve a number of environmental, social, and societal governance policies through manipulation and control of the global economy. These companies have colluded to use their trillions of dollars under their custody and control to make an attempt to effectuate policy changes outside the democratic political process. That's key. That's the whole game for these guys. Everything they've done is outside the political process, forced from the top down. Nobody voted for this stuff. Whereas the collusion of these companies has had considerable negative impacts on Wyoming's industries and has made it difficult for the state of Wyoming to invest its funds in a manner that supports the industries and policies of the state. We expanded our antitrust laws in 2021, and there are legal tools available to push back against this collusion. The state of Wyoming has joined the state of Texas and 9 other states in an antitrust lawsuit against the 3 largest asset managers for allegedly colluding to reduce coal output, thus reducing supply and artificially raising prices of electricity, creating cartel-level profits for themselves. So therefore be it resolved by the legislature of Wyoming that we request the governor and attorney general of Wyoming to continue to use all investigation and litigation tools available under law to investigate and prosecute banks, asset management companies, and other financial institutions for any illegal activity, including colluding to implement the use of stakeholder capitalism or any other ideological non-pecuniary criteria in investment decisions that negatively affect the children, citizens, industry, and financial well-being of Wyoming and the United States, including the expanded civil enforcement powers now available under Wyoming's consumer protection laws. And to seek, join, and participate in the efforts of other states, because there are many other states out there fighting this fight. We don't need to fight this alone, and there's strength in numbers that are going after these individuals. And the legislature specifically requests the Treasurer's Office to continue to use the enormous purchasing power of our sovereign wealth funds to find and attract asset management companies that only seek to maximize returns and shareholder wealth rather than drive a political or ideological agenda, and ensure that the voting and proxies for all the state's investments are done in accordance with the best interests of Wyoming. So what we just talked about with the last bill. I think the 2 bills together offer a great tool back against fighting against ESG, and I'd strongly encourage you to support this, and I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. President. Any questions? Well, I just want to say thank you for, again, bringing this forward. This is needed, and appreciate your leadership, Mr. President, on this issue. Is there anyone else who'd like to give testimony? Yes.
Mr. Chairman, Bill Winnie from Sublette County.
Yes.
I support the bill. At its core, ESG, as I see it, is a method of avoiding that messy thing called legislating. In essence, people with control of the money that's available to them spend it as they wish, frequently on various ritzy-glitzy things rather than what may have been in the appropriation. So I think this bill is very important. Subject to your questions, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Winnie. Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Winnie. Who else would like to testify on this bill? Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, Mr. Treasurer. Yes, sir.
O is still here. I'm not sure if he wants to opine on this or not, Mr. Chairman.
I will check with him. He didn't raise his hand, but
Okay,
I will bring him in.
that's fine. I just want to say, it's been a pleasure working with the Senate on this. We really appreciate the leadership that the president has, and you and the leadership team has put forth on this, and the support and the trust that you have in our office of making sure that your wishes are implemented. And to that, we just thank you for allowing us to I guess, I think, get a really good product that's out there that people can understand. This is the direction that Wyoming is headed. And we're all about the beneficiaries and making the highest risk-adjusted return, and acting in a pecuniary manner. And us, as well as WRS, have been doing that. And but now this puts some meat on the bone, and we appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Senator Grew.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon again, Mr. Treasurer. I just want to kind of get your take on this. And I've been reading, and I thank the good senator for correcting me, $18 billion to $30.9 billion. I think I misspoke earlier, so I want to make sure, give you credit where credit's due. But it seems and it appears that due to actions by yourself and when we're voting our shares, in other words, letting the market work its will and letting us, as a pretty big player in the market at the dollars we're talking about, vote our shares. Do you see the markets and investments in just in general terms start to move the way that we're moving, or is there still, in regards to ESG policy, that there's still, would you say, a long way to go? Are we trending in the right direction as far as our money managers moving money? And how does this resolution, do you feel that just carries us on the continuum? Just kind of your thoughts about that.
I think it does carry us on a continuum of the direction that we've been going in about the year and a half, in our office. And I think it's important to know that some parts of the industry and companies in the United States are moving faster than others. Whether or not, the industry of entertainment is going to follow. I think they have to a certain extent. I think certainly some of the news groups that are out there have understood where they need to be if they're going to be, I guess, reporting the news instead of just reporting whatever their opinion is. There's a difference, and I see that the bankers have, especially to I guess look at what our president said here as far as the antitrust. These guys are jumping ship as fast as they can to get on the right side of the issue. And so they're moving fast. Technology is slow to move. And so how fast that'll be and how fast, social media and some other areas are, we're, in America, we're all about free speech and, and private property rights. I think that essentially, I think those things are going to be looked at a lot, I guess, maybe in vogue now, considering they weren't quite in vogue maybe in the last several years. So, I think it's a breath of fresh air, and I think that this action that the Senate has moved forward on really lets the sky get a little bit clearer and a little more sunshine, and we hope here for a little more rain. But you know how that goes. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Any other testimony for this bill? Any more testimony? Okay. Mr. Fleming, anything on this?
Oh, Mr. Chairman, just fully supporting what we're trying to do here. We've always been in the highest risk-adjusted and non-pecuniary issues. To follow up with the senator's question, just last week, we saw 3 managers who removed their ESG statements from their website and scrubbed all their links. So this is kind of, I think, going to be a tidal wave with what's happening, and more people are moving in the right direction. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Fleming. Okay, I'll close testimony. What is the pleasure of the committee? There's move it and second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Roll call vote for Senate file. Let's see, wrong one. This is Joint Resolution 0011. Senator Driscoll. Senator Guru. Senator Larson.
Aye.
Senator Smith registered an aye vote, and Chairman Salzar. Mr. Chairman, 5 ayes do pass on Senate Joint Resolution 11.
Great. And Mr. President, thank you again for your great work on this issue. Very much appreciate it.
Thank you, committee. Thank you very much.
Okay, the next bill before us is Senate File 169. I'm going to, just for the committee's information, Senate File 189 will be laid back while we wait for some testimony. We'll do that later in the week. So we're now at Senate File 169. And I think we're waiting for Senator Hicks.
Is that the last bill you have?
That's the last bill today, is 169.
It's SIPA? That's SIPA. It's not very hard.
Senator Driscoll, do you want to
Mr.
kind of?
Chairman, you want me here or up there?
We can do it here if you'd
Okay,
like.
Mr. Chairman, let me get it pulled up.
Here.
I think everybody on the committee understands for the audience. So we've had multiple checking accounts in the state through the years. This repeal of the SIPA is basically a budget neutral account. We're moving everything back into one account for transparency purposes. This is something that's long overdue for the state. SIPA is not being used for the purpose it was created for. This merely repeals it, puts us back into what I think is going to help the legislature and the public better understand how we appropriate and spend our funds. That I'd stand for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Yeah, I think it's a pretty straightforward bill. I think we're all pretty aware of it. Any testimony for this bill? Any testimony? Going? Okay, I'll close public testimony. Is there a motion?
Move the bill.
Second discussion, Senator Guru.
Yeah, just a comment. Yeah, I remember when just the SIPA was created, actually, what I recall, first thing I recall working on it for was supposedly at that time to put money away for work on the prison. And I know that's the way it's always been billed as kind of a special fund that a percentage of dollars, and we all remember the wonderful charts that we used to get on this, that, funding levels got to one, and then money would drift off into one account and dip off into another, and dips and trips and tranches, and, it served a purpose. I don't know if it was the purpose it was intended, but as time has gone on, it's really confused people a lot. And some people like that, some people don't. And I think that in the last couple of years in the Senate, we have really tried to demystify our accounting procedures, demystify our budget, to try to give that transparency. And this is just another step. We saw another bill on this before to get rid of the bra. So last week we're burning bras, this week we're burning SIPA, so on and forth. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? I want to give a kudo to our Vice President on his work on this issue as well. So, okay, with that, roll call, please.
Mr. Chairman, roll call vote on Senate File 0169. Senator Driscoll. Senator Guru.
Aye.
Senator Larson.
Aye.
Senator Smith registered an aye vote, and Chairman Salzar.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, 5 ayes do pass on
Thank
Senate
you.
File 169.
So it's going to, committee, it's my intent that we will have another meeting probably on Thursday, get through the rest of the Senate bills for the deadline on Friday. If by some chance we were not to get finished on Thursday, we'll have a quick one on Friday, but it's my intent to try and get done on Friday. So with that, any questions or comments?
Just a quick,
Senator Guru.
I've got, in my file, I have 191 and 189 left, so those are the two we're just holding back for, or did we get 191?
We did get 191.
Okay, sorry.
Holding back.
189, okay. Sorry, just want to make sure I had it right, okay.
As I say, we're going to try and get done on Thursday, but if we have to, we will meet on Friday. I want everyone's bill to be heard.
Chance on Wednesday, just to be safe, or is that bad?
Well, I think Wednesday, we're going to be dealing with the supplemental budget.
Gotcha.
So that'll be enough.
Sorry.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you for your work today, appreciate it.
I forgot.